I don't actually know what to call the external. These are all just rooms. I guess I don't need to really label them. This can just be the boss room. Anyway, so basic structure gets summoned in. We'll clear the top. You can see. So it's just like an open room. And then each of these are different segments or rooms. So you can see that's built there. We'll clear it so we can see the outline. Like there's now one room there. And yes, the plan is to randomize which ones actually get selected. So right now, this is like one basic layout. Ooh. The cool thing about it, after I clear the weather, the cool thing about it is depending on the order that they're actually triggered, the layout will actually be different. So for instance, you saw the blue comes out to here and creates a wall there. If, for instance, I do blue, then green, the wall is now horizontal, so to speak. So like this layout is now different. Same with all of these. If I just randomize the order that I click them in, or summon them in, so to speak, the layout's going to be different to what it normally would be. So anything, I think the noticeable ones would be, so if I did the yellow first, it would bisect the blue, and it would obviously get rid of the pink and make an internal long structure. If I did pink before purple, it would cut that out, create a wall there, yada yada. Essentially, I can randomize the structure by alternating which boxes get put into place. And then the big thing would be a boss room. So there's just a chance that, say, this middle room can spawn, and that's obviously going to eat away at all the different rooms. It's nice and big for you to fight a boss in. But all in all, I'm pretty happy with the layouts I've set up. There's a few little nooks that you can't necessarily access through just the doorway mechanisms. If I trigger all the doorways, so I did end up doing 4. So for instance, you can, with this layout, you can enter every room but the yellow and the red. So I don't know, I could put treasure in, say, the yellow, and then I'd have the red being something dangerous. There's also the 2 layers to it, so I have included a little bit of height so that the player can actually have somewhat of a double story. So we just go through the motion again. All but the black this time. If I were to click the wrong one every time. Not the black, and click this one. So yeah. So the player can, I don't know, build up to this higher structure. And for instance, if I also go the method of discounting which ones are actually put into place. So for instance, if green isn't put into place, well then they have to, bridge this gap or make it across this gap. Otherwise, there's still just little entryways, different hallways. I think all in all, I'm pretty happy with the design. I could play around with the shapes a bit more, but I don't think that's going to be highly impactful. I think just as it is going to be pretty decent. But what we want to actually look at is the structure if I create a multitude of them. So currently, I can easily change where they're set up. All of these commands are now executing at an armor stand. Let's tag with build. The armor stand's just here. If I can get rid of this, I can move it. And that'll allow me to essentially mimic what it's going to be like if I have multiple dungeons. So for instance, we can move this armor stand. Go copy. So repair the hole. And for instance, the next building block would probably be here. So if I put the armor stand back down here, we tag it, add build with a capital B, and we can go through the mechanism again. But we might want to alternate it. So for instance, red always gets triggered. It's a little box. It's now a lot longer. But we'll go in the reverse order this time. See what that ends up like first. And then do the air pockets. So now we have a hallway all the way down, which again, I honestly, this feel has grown on me. Especially if I obviously make the wall blocks into proper, I don't know, stone blocks, whatever the palette is I pick for each section. But so you've got all these alternative paths, you can get lost in the maze, or you can continue, go down a straight corridor, and you can see all the way to the end, and it's a bit intense. You can probably notice things replicate. Obviously, this layout's already different because of the blue, so you can't actually go that way this time. In fact, it should be a little bit different all over. I think this room's now bigger. Bisects, and I think there's no way into the purple. Right, yeah. So there's also some hidden areas that you can break into. Because you can't actually get into this purple room with this setup. Also, the yellow is bigger. I don't know. There should be the way into the yellow. I don't know if there's a way into the blue. Walled, yeah. So that's walled off. Oh no, you can. Then of course, I can do the same thing. I can find... Well, it's actually a little bit complicated. Should be this corner. This colored corner. Yeah, perfect. I can take the arm stand now, move it one further. Tag it. And we commence the building again. And for instance, this time we might have that boss room. So we'll do all of them this time in the same order. But now there's that black boss room. Oh, and it's actually, because it's further than the render distance, dies out. Or did I... No, you know what? I didn't do the air pockets. Interesting. The final conundrum, though, is how do I patch? How do I patch these holes? I think the easiest way is just to create a box one bigger, which I can't actually do. Thinking about it now because I've sort of done the maximum size. Ooh. My original idea was just to encase it in bedrock. I need to think about that now, because that is a hurdle. Yeah, so then you come to this section, and all of a sudden there's this giant black room. There'll be something, obviously different material, and there'll be a boss in the middle. Probably I'll use spawners, so it doesn't trigger till the person gets into the room. Because all the bosses have pretty... I think I set them to 100 blocks, is their follow distance. So they actually hunt down the player. I mean, the boss would probably move about. Which I guess isn't horrible. The black room can still just be for treasures. And then for actual like layout randomization, I can off... Okay, this pisses me off, especially because that lightning can destroy this whole thing. And now the... But I don't want to fill up the chat because I like seeing. But anyway, off of each of these, I can just run a offshoot. I can do maybe 16 different things, and then use the same mechanism I used to fill a loot box. So each of these different rooms, there'll be 16 different decorations, so to speak, that can be spawned in to just give it a little bit of variation. And like all of them, one of them, or all of them could be, you know, a staircase up to the top layer, so you can actually get up here. Yes, I probably want to put stuff up the top as well. That I can tie into the red, would probably be the easiest way. So leave all these corridors empty, but then have the red, you know, put stuff somewhere around here. Because the height's always the same, so it's easy enough for me to define those sort of features. Even if it's just, you know, like a battlement or something on top of certain rooms. Because, I mean, I've got a lot of space to play around with. Because there's, well, what's the scale so far? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Did I count that right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep, 14. Okay, so the scale is currently 14. And then if I just run 16 extra off of each offshoot, it takes up a lot of room, yes, but all in all, it's not going to be that intensive. And then I only have to come up with probably 4 variations because that's the different tiers I want. So I want like a basic layout that's, again, I'll use experience to track the player actually building these rooms. So for instance, if they have, I don't know, I should probably use multiples of squares. So I can use 25, but then after that it has to be something greater because I want to build in sort of this mechanism spiraling around the central room. That way you can explore in each direction. But yeah, so if I were to do it, it'd be probably 1 to 25 would be the first one, because 5 by 5. And then 42 would probably be the next one, 7 by 7. Not 81, somewhere in between. You sort of get the idea. Which means, all in all, it's just time this by 4. Again, it's not super hard to set up either, because, for instance, the rooms, I'm just changing this to a block that represents a room. So, I don't know, to keep it simple, I could just use cobblestone for the basic red, and then each of these rooms could be a different stone variant. Then the decorations in it actually give a character, and again, I have 16 of those. So it will take me a little bit to write out and plan, but its complexity is super simple. Like, the hurdle is the ideas more so than actually the writing, because it's pretty much copy and paste over and over again. And then even for the different tiers, I can most likely keep the same structures, just change whatever blocks I use, materials, whatever mobs I spawn, and that's going to be a pretty decent method. Let's just place down a bunch of armor stands, just to give it a proper feel, because right now this is 3, so if I put 1 on each direction there, they'll make it... essentially, I want to see what the basic feel is going to be like if it was just a basic version of the dungeon. Granted, though, it's going to be a bit hard for me to mentally... Well, is it just the purple each time? Yeah, okay, never mind. So I just have to put the arm stand on the purple. We put the arm stand here. Targets. Is there a better way to activate sprint flying? Okay. This will make it 2 by 3. Yeah, 2 by 3. So, basic outline. Perfect. They all work because they work in unison. I know, we'll go green, pink, blue, orange, above. It doesn't matter. Leave off the boss rooms. And now the dungeon setup is this. So we've got a giant corridor down there, that's fine, because again, you can get lost in these little sort of extra regions, so to speak. Plus it'll be dark as well, because I have night vision. Oops, I didn't do the air pockets. And that's the other thing, I can always trigger the air pockets randomly as well. That way they don't always line up, for instance, might not bisect every room. Oh, I like this layout. Nice long yellow. Bit of a pillar. I don't know, it's very comparable just to the mine shafts. Which I think is good, because then obviously it has somewhat of just the general feel to normal Minecraft dungeons. it's, you know, it's not this extreme idea. Can I destroy something, spectator? You can't, can you? I'd very much like to get rid of the arm stands. But you know what I can do? I can just do kill. Yeah, now they're gone. It was 3. Interesting. Wonder where the other one was. Ooh, wrong side. We'll try it on this one. I will... Why? Oh no. Everyone hates rain. They should honestly just change it. I mean, everyone absolutely hates the particle. Executes as at E, caps lock, type, armor stands. Why am I doing it like that? Bad. Just tag at E, type equals arm stands, add build. Okay, we'll do it a bit differently. Go green, blue, this one, this one, this one. Now we'll do the air pockets. And then I think it was this, this, and this. It should be slightly different. We shouldn't have a corridor all the way through. Yeah, we don't. There's an orange there. Are you trapped? So you're trapped in this room, which isn't horrible, because obviously you got the other rooms. I go to the next doorway. You've got this little corridor. You can go over here. Okay, and now it's a bit more of a maze. Yeah, so if I just vary when they actually trigger. I mean, obviously the player's going to have tools too, so they can break into these different rooms. But I mean, that's part of it as well. Part of the fun. Okay. Definitely like it so far. Not complex, super simple. It's going to be easy to execute in the actual world. I'll probably just stick it on top of a nether. That's generally going to be the easiest way to set up. The question is, how do I place the armor stands? Because ideally, I want one section to be generated at a time. Means we either need to come up with a way to... Well, the easiest way is probably just to teleport the armor stand. Or have it tagged as done. Because that way I can have a cleanup mechanism. Because if I tag it as, say, done, I can either have the next use or the next time a player wants to generate a dungeon, I can have it get rid of the armor stands done tag. No, I can't do that. I'd still have to start again. That's the easier way. So yeah, if I tag them with done after they've built their segment, then at the end of it I can execute at all of them and just clear the area. That'd be the easiest way. Just destroy every block inside. Does also mean I need some sort of disclaimer saying you can't hack your way to the nether surface with ender pearls or whatever, or just through portals, and then build, because it will get just destroyed by the placement. And then we still need to figure out how do I fill these holes. Again, the easiest way is to just box it in with bedrock. But that won't work because I've abolished the size. Well, I don't need the bottom, which is true. Hmm. Do I just decrease the red by 1? No, the height's gonna screw me at this point. Do I care about the second layer? I mean, the second layer is pretty cool. And it gives a way for the player to mine their way into the next segment. But I do need... So, like, if this layer wasn't here, I need bedrock to stop the player being able to mine out of the dungeon. Okay. Kill all the arm stands. Ooh. I wish you could blacklist blocks. That'd make this a lot easier. Anyway. So ideally, I just want this to be... I need it to be -1. -1. Then also this needs to be 48. 48! Bedrock. That's not gonna work. It's gonna be too big. I also need to figure out where I can build it now. That needs to be 3 chunks over. Did not mean to reload. No, 4 chunks over, right? These are 4 wide. 1, 2, no, they're 3. 3 by 3. Instead of 2 by 2. So 1, 2, 3. So the arm stand should go here. Which will actually, we'll just do 1 chunk over, so there's a gap between the 2 of them. Tag. Blah, blah, blah. Build. Okay. If I click this button, it's not going to work. It is unfortunate. Yep. Too big. By how many blocks? It's not even going to display it for me. Why not? It should just say. Also, this needs to be -1. Okay, can we do 10 blocks? We can do 10 blocks. Can we do 11? We can do 11. Can we do 12? Did not work, but it's not telling me. So if we can only do 11, that means this can only be 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, that's not a lot of room to work with. Because right now, if I do that, 2 blocks over. Just to get a feel for it. Okay. This height. If I were to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe. So the rooms are still somewhat big, but then the roof is a lot smaller. Or I can split evenly and do 4 by 4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. But I'd rather have the roof smaller. It's probably going like that, 5 and 3. I mean, it's not horrible. I would say this feels a lot better. The openness. Just big rooms feel better. Like if this height was what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Instead. So I can get a feel with the door. You're in here. Well, I mean, I guess that's not horrible. It would give the corridor a bit better of an effect. Let me just do that. And clear it. Bedrock. Red. How many blocks am I decreasing it by? The roof is coming down 3 blocks. 1, 2, 3. 5. 5. Might be a little short. We'll see in a second. I'll still leave the black as the maximum height. Which is now 10, correct? Correct. It also means the air pockets are 4 now. Okay. Bedrock, red, green, we're still in order. Black included. Yeah, so there's no way in just yet. This one. Problem is you can see the bedrock. But, I mean, at least you know that's the dead end then. So the height is about here. A little worse. I think it can work. 13's fine. 5 should now be 6. No, this one. 9 should now be 6. Try this again. I can get a feel for what the roofs feel like. I mean, it's not horrible. I'm cutting from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Drop in. Well, no, technically, that's still one too much. The red light should still be there. Weird. There it is. Be 9. And this also only needs to be 11. Still like the layouts and everything. I think it's fine. Okay. This is what the roof feels like. Obviously, the walls will still be filled in. Not horrible. This will be... Black goes all the way to the roof, so you don't have to worry about that. 1, 2, 3, 4 is not horrendous. There's no way into that wall. No, so yeah, all these should be one higher. Six. And black stays the same. This needs to be 7. Ooh, bedrock, red, all the rooms. Cut it open. Go inside. Okay, so this is a bit more claustrophobic. The rooms feel better at least. Kinda. Bit boxy. I mean, the dimension comes from being able to see down into these crevices, I suppose. Like, we can always generate stuff to sort of vary it as well. Alright, it's not too bad. I still prefer the feel of this. It'd almost be better with no roof, just so you can see the sky. Which, I mean, it wouldn't be hard, I just obviously use air to cut it open. But then you can blow over the walls and, like that, so it's definitely better to have a fixed look or feel. Oh, I will probably want to use a different block for the roof. Maybe. That to this. Or I go back to 4 and 4. Yeah, I'll probably go back to 4 and 4. I want the roof to be usable. Bedrock. All the rooms. I'll leave out the boss room this time. Air pockets. Dissect it. Then, yeah, so the top feels better like this. The rooms aren't horrible. Does mean it'll make it hard for me to do like chandeliers or stuff like that. Stuff from the ceiling without impeding the player. Or even having, like staircases. And that's not horrendous. It is nicer having this amount of space to work with. Though at the same time, this obviously becomes a bit hard to make it not feel barren. Like taking a room this size and making it feel full versus taking a room this size and making it feel full. Ugh. Decisions. Anyway, with the bedrock, let us see how this fares. We'll double it up. The second arm stand should go inside the bedrock here. Oh, they're all running twice. I've got to do the bedrock first. But now these pathways should connect. We break in. Got bedrock there. You can see all the way to that bedrock. But this corridor now goes all the way to the new dungeon. That's curious. Right, it's misaligned. Interesting. The arm stand should be one over. I didn't account for... Like, it should be one more diagonally in. I put it here, where the wall starts here, and that's where it should go. Because I'm running the bedrock box outside of it. So, they can see these rooms, they can pillar up and whatever, get on top, fight stuff, blah blah blah, enter the rooms, fight stuff, blah blah blah. It's working at this point. So I just have to decide on ordering. I'm still unsure if I want to randomize when the air blocks are intertwined. Because it could create problems. For instance, say I were to run the air blocks first. Obviously that would never work. The air blocks can't be run first, which means I'd have to give them priority over certain rooms, which again doesn't work because then I can't keep them random. There's going to be a set structure to them in the sequence they order. If X rooms has to be triggered before the air blocks. So I'm probably keeping it bedrock, bread, so to speak, then the random rooms, then the air pockets. I think that's going to be the correct ordering. Well, makes it nice and easy. Yeah, slightly misaligned. Bit sad that I can't keep the height. I mean, the alternative would be to shrink the red, I guess. Then I'd have to shrink all of them. This corridor would only be 3. This room would be 1 less. Is that a big issue? If I shrink them all, run the bedrock on the outside, because then I can keep the height I want. I suppose it's not horrendous. There's no corridors that are going to be heavily impacted. Like this will still be 4 and whatever. This will still be 4, it's just that one will be 3. And this one will be 3. Like this room wouldn't be heavily impacted. This would be 3 by 3, so that's not a huge deal either. Alright, I might do that. I just have to shrink all of these. But then I can extend the height back to what it was. So for instance, this now runs. Do I still go 1 down? Probably still go 1 down. And above. These go back to 47. So 13 was the max. I can't put them to the same height. I need to just test this. And running... Well, I can do it in the same area. Which doesn't work. So I haven't actually gained that much from doing this. I've gained 1 block in height. That is... yeah, it's probably not worth it then. What was it? I think it's 1 each direction. These were 48. And this was 11. Yeah, 1 block in height. Does it make a difference? Does it make a difference? Probably not, no. And I like tall rooms, so to speak. Okay, anyway, I can gain height. I mean, that makes sense. If I cut each direction in 1 block, I should be able to gain 2 blocks. Well, actually, no. I like this setup because the actual dungeon is still 3 chunks by 3 chunks. Just slightly small. Okay, well that's the main principle done then. All I have to work out is the features. And obviously the blocks that I'm going to use. Other than that, it's super simple. I just have to jot these down in the correct order. Again, I'll probably do the air pockets last. I won't try to randomize them. I think it's going to be too hard. And I'm not against being able to see all the way down. I think there's a level to intimidation by doing that. The fact that the player can see like an endless hallway with all these alternative paths has its own sense of feeling to it. Anything else I need to figure out while I'm at it? Was that honestly all there is to it? It's 15 command blocks as is, so that's 60 command blocks for the 4 different types, irrespective of the decorations and whatnot. And then decorations only go off of these anyway. There's 9 different rooms, each with 16. It's 90 plus 54, so 144 command blocks, which is actually perfect because I can do a 12 by 12, so to speak. Won't exactly, because I'll probably have them offshoots and connected. And it has to be by 16 anyway, because if I were to activate them, I'd have to activate all 16, I can't activate 12s. Ooh. Well, this went better than I thought. I thought it would honestly take me longer than... what was it? It was like 3 hours over 2 days to figure out. Is sad. So I'm quite attached to this height and this layout. I didn't change any of these rights. Go ahead and build it. Oh, it's misplaced. Should probably find an actual door. Again, you'll probably start in this central room. Or I might put you in a corner. It's not a bad idea. Put you in this corner. You start in this room. Which, whether it's blue or green, I can do something with this section. Where is it? Yeah, with this cube. Just to have it as like a safe zone. Do the whole, like, I don't know, cages or whatever. And then put brewing stands and a furnace and whatever you need. So I do want... one, I want to make sure there's harvestables, so to speak. so you can stay in the dungeon for a long time, turn into a base of some sort. And then the other main principle will be, if there's no players in the dungeon goes bye-bye. So you can't leave and come back. If you want to come back, it'll be a different dungeon. And putting you here, this is the central room, means that in no matter which direction you go, it'll always be equivalent. Obviously, unless you have like an odd number. So for instance, if you only had 2 experience when you made the dungeon, the layout would probably be like that. And then if you had 3, it'd probably go like that, then 4, and spiral out like this. And then the goal would be a 10 by 10. Would be what? That'd be 30 chunks by 30 chunks per dungeon to explore. I think that should appease people, give them a bit of stuff to do. Well, unfortunately, the next step for it is not a fun one, so it's not something that I'm going to do on stream. It's jotting down all the commands and then writing out what I want. So, guess we'll leave it there, because that's the setup I need, and there's nothing else for me to really do. Well, we can do some repair work on this world. What's the lag looking like too? Is that something I need to figure out at some point? Yeah, it's still horrendous. I don't know what I've done. It used to be in the green. I think it's the attributes, to be honest. Have upped the whole baseline. I don't know why. I think the easy fix would just be to execute at all players, then run the attribute command, because then that gates it. And I can gate the distance. But even this is already set to all players, so it shouldn't be having a hard time with it. Because it should only be scanning 1 player every tick. Then again, it's a lot of command blocks, scanning a player every tick. The only other mechanism I could probably attach to it is if someone has the armor equipped. I can just put command blocks here that fill in redstone. No, I can't put it there. I've actually kind of screwed myself with the layout. Because there's no way I can put redstone that will activate all 3 blocks. Same with this one's horrendous. Like, there's no way for me to hit the internal now. I'd have to redesign it. It's a bit of a pain. I mean, the easiest way to check. I mean, yellow's not horrible. If I were to turn to one of the smaller segments, this one. Let's see if this makes a difference. I don't see how it can be this, because again, they're only scanning 1 entity. So it's not doing a lot. But I will have to go over everything with somewhat of a fine comb. Trying to examine what can sort of be tweaked to be a bit more effective when it comes to the calculations the game is doing. Anyway, I don't think that's going to make much of a difference. Well, it looks like we're in a slight green. So I guess it is. Maybe the attribute command is a bit more intensive than I realized. We'll try this tower and see if that makes a difference as well. In which case, it's a pain in the ass. I will have to adjust the layout or just prime it so redstone is done in all the appropriate places to activate all the command blocks. Does that make a difference? It looks like it's going down. Yeah, and the pain in the ass is going to be that one. I just have to change the middle segment. Which is really annoying, but it has to be done, Yeah, it's definitely the attribute command. That's surprising. But the attribute command is a bit more intensive than what I was thinking. It's really bad in that case. There's a lot of errors. Is that a word? Errors? Grievous. There's lots of just horrible ways that it seems like commands trigger. Yeah, so that's definitely made a difference. So it's definitely these towers have added the strain. Which, to be honest, I don't fully understand its impact just yet. So even though it's in the orange, I'm still at that. I'm still not going under 20 ticks, which means there's no tick lag. But then again, there's no real entities here, so it's hard to tell. Anyway, yeah, I'll just end up redstoning them so they're only triggered when the player has the equipment on. Which in itself is not necessarily a great fix, because it means if a player were to have all this different equipment on, it would just end up being the same amount of lag. So it's almost better to leave them as they are, as sort of a baseline. The unfortunate truth of this map is, despite my best efforts, it is getting to the point where not everyone will be able to play it. It's just going to be too intensive with all the different features. I've gone a bit overboard. Which, to sound like a bit of a dick, not really my problem. Like, this whole concept was for me. This is the map, or the version of Minecraft I want to play. So, I can handle it. I can still allocate more lag, as well, add more RAM. It's hardly hitting, well, it's getting up to 20%. It's not too intrusive either. We'll see. We'll see when I get to the end of it. I'm probably going to leave it there. There's not too much else for me to work on. Can I do this quickly? I can probably do this quickly. I just wanted to check and make sure all these are still working. We get particle effect, we do, so that's probably working. If that's working, all the horns are working. Still am unsure why only some of the repeating command blocks had got reset in a weird way. Oh, that's a good question. I mean, all the effects should still work as well. Nah, I'm just going to leave it there. It's going to be an early one for me, then. Yeah. Oh well. It is what it is. We got the random gen situated. Which I'm really happy with, because it means the overall project is definitely doable by the end of Jan. Like, that's... I can honestly, if I really sat down and cranked it out, I could get done by the end of the week easily, because it's just retexturing whichever blocks I want to use for each section, and then coming up with 16 by 9 features, which in itself is not too hard to sort of think about. Obviously, the majority of them are just going to be spawners, or maybe booby traps, I don't know. Super simple. Anyway, whoever's looking around, hope you enjoyed, and thanks. And anyone watching post, cheers as well. See you next time. I'm letting it run because last time I was cut off.